India is endowed with rich freshwater resources like ponds, tanks, lakes and reservoirs, which are ideal for producing freshwater prawns. They fetch a much higher price than freshwater fishes, such as carps, and their production would therefore help increase the income of rural fish farmers and improve their economic status. Freshwater prawns can be cultured in the existing fish ponds along with major carps like katla and rohu, or can be integrated into rice farming to increase the income from rice cultivation. The largest and fast-growing freshwater prawn species is called Macrobrachium rosenbergi, which has been successfully used in commercial aquaculture ventures in our country. This species is commonly known as scampi, and it commands a good market both within the country and abroad, and is fast becoming an important source of earning valuable foreign exchange. It can be easily introduced either as a component in the carp culture system or cultured alone to produce export-oriented product.
In the last 5 years, the annual production of freshwater prawn has risen from a mere 2,000 tons to about 30,000 tons. The basic input to the culture activity, the seed, is produced in several of those freshwater prawn hatcheries that have come up in the coastal areas. With the Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture, Bhubaneswar, in the lead role, hatcheries are coming up in several areas. Freshwater prawn farming is not restricted just to coastal areas, but also has great importance in the inland saline water areas of Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and so on.
A major bottleneck for further expansion of the prawn culture is lack of adequate supply of post-larvae, that is the prawn seed for stocking in culture ponds. The projected prawn seed requirement for the development of at least 2 lakh hectares of water area in the coming years is 10,000 million. What can be done to overcome the shortage and bring about an increase in the supply of seed? The answer has been provided by the Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture, popularly known as CIFA, a premier institute involved in developing and standardizing technologies for increasing freshwater aquaculture production in the country. After more than 10 years of research, this institute has developed a commercially viable hatchery technology for producing good quality seeds of Macrobrachium rosenbergi species. This should trigger the establishment of a chain of hatcheries.
Technology developed by CIFA includes generation of quality broodstock in captivity, a semi-closed two-phase clear water technique of larval rearing for prawn seed production, a high-density rearing technique for post-larvae in outdoor cement cisterns. CIFA has established a prawn complex in its premises in 1997, comprising a hatchery for the production of prawn seed, a feed mill for the production of quality prawn feed, and prawn farm for culture trials. The hatchery is operational, producing seed for distribution to the farming community.
Let us look at the steps followed for seed production. It starts with a collection of broodstock, that is, adult male and female prawn. Broodstock, or only egg-bearing females, can be collected from lower reaches of rivers, culture ponds, or from broodstock ponds. At CIFA, the broodstock is kept in earthen ponds. The first step in seed production is selection of healthy mother prawns bearing grey eggs on their ventral side of the abdomen from the broodstock pond and bringing them to the hatchery. The mother prawns are then disinfected with 30 ppm, parts per million formalin, for 30 minutes under aeration. They are then stocked at the rate of 100 to 150 grams per cubic meter in brackish water with salinity of 5 ppt or parts per thousand and reared till hatching of eggs, which takes 2 to 3 days. The tanks are cleaned daily by siphoning and exchanging 50% of water on alternate days. With the help of a glass beaker, one can check daily for the appearance of larvae. Once the hatching takes place, it may continue for 24 to 48 hours. The female is then removed from the tank and released back into the broodstock pond. The newly hatched larvae are planktonic and require brackish water of 10 to 12 ppt, parts per thousand salinity, for survival and growth. There are 11 morphologically distinct larval stages, and they require 30 to 35 days to become post-larvae. After removing the mother prawns, the salinity of the larval rearing medium is increased to 12 ppt, parts per thousand. The larvae may be reared in the same tank or stocked in another tank for the first phase of rearing at high density and reared for 10 to 12 days. The high-density rearing of early larvae helps in saving larval media, space, and in the better utilization of feed. For the first 2 days after hatching, the larvae need not be fed as they depend on their internal yolk reserves for nutrition. From the 3rd day onwards, the larvae need to be fed. Freshly hatched Artemia nauplii are given as live food to the prawn larvae 4 to 5 times per day in the early stages. Artemia nauplii are produced from Artemia cysts, which are available in vacuum-packed tins in the market. About 2 kilograms of Artemia cysts are required to produce 1 lakh post-larvae. For obtaining Artemia nauplii, the cysts are kept in fresh water for 1 hour for hydration and subsequently disinfected using sodium hypochlorite. After disinfection, the cysts are washed in running tap water and kept for hatching in cylindrical-conical tanks, FRP, under vigorous aeration. After 24 hours, the cysts will hatch out as Artemia nauplii, which can be separated from the empty cyst shells and unhatched cysts by siphoning them from a plastic bin. The Artemia nauplii are redistributed in larval media and then provided to the larvae as feed. The larvae rearing tanks are cleaned daily by siphoning off excess food particles and metabolic waste from the bottom of the tank. This should be done after stopping aeration, preferably in the evening hours before exchange of water and introduction of Artemia nauplii. In the second phase, which starts 10 to 12 days after hatching, the larvae are collected and restocked in larger tanks with a bigger surface area, or distributed in 2 or 3 tanks at the rate of 50 to 80 per litre and reared till metamorphosis. During the second phase of rearing, the larvae are fed with Artemia nauplii and wet larval feed, that is, egg custard. Egg custard is prepared by grinding different ingredients, such as hen's egg, skimmed milk powder, wheat flour, mussel flesh, vitamin-mineral mixture, and cod liver oil in a mixer grinder, and then steam cooking the wet dough for 15 minutes. The custard can be kept under refrigeration for 3 to 4 days. The custard is sieved into different particle sizes using mesh sieves and resuspended in larval media and fed to the larvae using droppers. Wet larval feed with more than 50% protein level should be fed at the rate of 50 to 200 micrograms per larva per day, depending on the larval stage. The wet feed is given during daytime. Feeding should commence in the early morning and be continued till late afternoon at an interval of 1 hour with constant supervision. The main problem in the hatcheries lies in maintaining the good water quality. The water quality in a hatchery deteriorates due to accumulation of metabolites and decomposition of unutilized feed. Daily water exchange is the most efficient method of management of water quality, but this is practiced only in the coastal hatcheries. In hatcheries situated away from the coastline, water exchange may be done once every 2 to 3 days after checking pH and ammonia levels. Daily monitoring of temperature, salinity, and the levels of pH and dissolved oxygen are essential to maintain the water quality at optimum levels. Ammonia levels should be monitored prior to water exchange. For successful seed production, the water temperature should be between 29 and 31 degrees centigrade. Salinity should range between 10 and 12 parts per thousand. The pH level should be between 7.0 and 8.5, while the level of dissolved oxygen should be more than 5 parts per million, ppm. Nitrite and ammonia levels should be less than 0.1 ppm. Larvae normally take 1 to 4 days to go through one stage. Healthy larvae swim at the water surface and feed actively, while unhealthy larvae accumulate at the tank bottom. The appearance of first post larvae is usually observed 20 days after hatching, normally between the 22nd and the 26th day at 28 to 32 degrees centigrade, and 90% larvae metamorphose within the next 10 days. The post larva is characterized by a radical change in behavior and appearance. For the first time, they resemble miniature adult prawns and swim freely and crawl or cling to the tank surface. The post-larval production normally ranges between 35 and 40 per liter, and the cycle lasts for 35 to 40 days. Pre- and post-metamorphosis stages are critical in larval rearing, and provision of a variety of substrata can minimize mortality due to cannibalism. For this, molluscan shells or plastic materials are fabricated into vertical multi-stage tier system or horizontal frames with close webbing and placed in the tank for the post-larvae to settle. After collection from larval tanks, the post-larvae are gradually acclimatized to fresh water. Initially, the post-larvae are transferred to 5 ppt parts per thousand media and kept for 24 hours. And from 5 ppt, they are transferred to 2 ppt and kept for 24 hours. Subsequently, they are transferred to fresh water. After acclimatization to fresh water, the post-larvae, that is the seed, are weaned from larval diet and fed on formulated diet at the rate of 100% of the biomass per day. After a week or fortnight, the post-larvae are suitable for stocking in grow-out ponds and can be sold to the prawn farmers. For transportation, the seeds are packed in polythene bags under oxygen pressure and kept in tins or insulated boxes. About 1/3 of the polythene bag is filled with water. Usually, the seeds are packed at the rate of 50 to 100 per liter for 24 to 30 hours of transportation. If the duration of transportation is more than 30 hours, the density of seed to be packed is reduced to 25 to 30 per liter. Disinfection of all larval rearing tanks and other accessories used during larval rearing is essential after each cycle of seed production to avoid diseases. Calcium or sodium hypochlorite is the most widely used disinfectant in hatcheries. Several diseases which affect freshwater prawn larvae have been reported. The common agents that cause diseases are bacteria, fungi, and protozoan. The disease problem is usually secondary to or aided by a primary failure in tank hygiene, insufficient water exchange, feed quality or quantity, and low dissolved oxygen, etc.
With the available technology from SIFA, a freshwater prawn hatchery with an annual production of 20 lakh seed can be established with an initial investment of 15 lakhs rupees, and the annual income from the sale of 20 lakh seed at the current market price will be rupees 10 lakhs.
An increase in freshwater prawn production would not only help improve the lot of rural fish farmers and entrepreneurs, but also would help the nation enter the global market in a big way.